Welcome to the Art Coaching Club podcast. I'm your host, Haley Price, artist, owner of the online art gallery, The Scouted Studio, and business coach for artists. With experience starting and running my own art business, growing an online art gallery, and coaching artists internationally on how to grow their careers, I've learned the art world inside and out. I've made all of the mistakes so you don't have to. Every episode will be a little bit different, but I promise that each week I will show you how to tackle your biggest business challenges so you can get back in the studio doing what you love. Now let's get into it. To kick things off, please introduce yourself and give a little context into you and how that led to your career in art.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm Jenna Alexander. I am a fine artist in St. Augustine, Florida. So I work out of my studio here. I do a lot of different mediums. I have been honing into oil paint the past 3 years, but I started my business as a photographer and it's morphed into what it is today. I have a bachelor's of fine arts or a BFA in fine art focused in oil painting. So yeah, I've been in business.
I love it.
It's crazy.
Did you go straight? You said you did photography for a little bit. Did you go straight from school to the art world, or did you ever do anything else? What was your path like?
Yeah, so I moved to Tanzania after college and lived in Moshi for a year. I taught actually art and PE and to the first grade level and then also preschool and climbed Mount Kilimanjaro while I was there. It was great. It's such a life-changing year to be abroad. And then I went back, lived in DeLand, worked at the headquarters for the nonprofit for almost 2 years as the assistant to the creative director. So got to travel back to Africa a few times. And then on the side, my friend asked me to shoot her wedding. And I was like, oh, heck no, I am not doing that. I will delete. I'm not doing this. And all the while I was like blogging about my experience in Tanzania. And then I've always loved photographing. I got my first camera at like age 10, took a lot of film classes. But she asked me to shoot her wedding. I was so hesitant. She basically made me. And off of her wedding, I got 7 jobs. And then all of a sudden, like my weekend job was matching my daytime salary. I was like, wait a second, I think I can do this. While all that was going on, I had got do you guys remember Kickstarter?
Yeah.
So I had gotten a Kickstarter fully funded. And my project was to paint the kids that I had taught in Tanzania. I got like $5,000 and I moved to St. Augustine, and randomly some girl asked me, she was a jeweler in town, had a great reputation. She asked me she's like, I'm having another kid and I just can't do this storefront by myself. Do you want to open up with me? And I was like, yeah, sure. Let's just see it. Had no business plan whatsoever. And now I'm here like 11 years later.
That's crazy, the serendipity of it all. And then do you still do any photography, or have you fully morphed into art?
Yeah, so I feel like my art reflects where I am in life. When I had gotten married and I was so into like wedding planning and that whole phase, I was so into wedding photography. So I shot probably 100 weddings, and then family shoots as well. And I've been in St. Augustine for 12 years now. So I just have families I've shot their milestones over the years. So I absolutely still take photos.
Yeah.
Advertise it, but somehow on the Google, if you type in like St. Augustine photographer, I'm still at the top. Like the optimization is great. So people just book online and I just take photos still. It's great.
I love it. Tell us a little bit about your artwork style. So how did you find your voice? It sounds like you, in the best way possible, stumbled into artwork and then have really evolved. And now I think you have a really strong brand from an outside perspective, but how did you develop your own style and your own voice?
Yeah. So while I was my passion is my hand with chalk or paint, anything, a paintbrush in hand. Like I love that connection in creating. So on top of photography, I've always been creating. Even from the beginning, I was taking commissions and let's see, maybe like I can do a painting and charge like nothing and we'll see. So slowly I was building my reputation as a painter alongside photography. And I started off with, I liked commissions, but I also wanted to do my own stuff. And so back in 2014 or 15, I had my son and I was exhausted. Like I was never the mom that takes naps while the baby naps, which if you're listening and like a new mom, definitely just go to sleep, just sleep. But I put my son down for a nap one day and I was like, oh, I don't want to do laundry. I don't want to do dishes. I just want to do something for me. So I had stained paper with tea and I had chalk pastel and I just drew in that hour and a half like a chalk pastel orange botanical. And I was like, oh my gosh, that felt so good. I just felt, oh, it was such a creative outlet for me. And I did something for myself. So then it became a habit. I just started creating during his naps and I named it Nap Time Botanicals. And I probably have close to 50 pieces. I usually do a couple a year. Yeah, they're behind me. Yeah, so lots of native plants to Florida, which then I became this like Florida artist. I'm like, I'm not even from Florida.
Don't tell people that.
Yeah, I like eating oranges and stuff, but everyone's, oh yeah, that Florida artist. And then I morphed into oil painting. I was like, let's see what I can do with this. And we used to go harvest oysters in the little salt run body of water that's by the lighthouse and then have all our neighbors over. And man, these shells are so pretty. I could think I could paint these. And the first show I did, I had probably 25 to 30 paintings. I think I made, it was wild. We had an oyster roast. And I think I made like $25,000 that night. And I was like, oh,
Wow.
I think I can do this. So it like totally built up the confidence, which is funny because then my following show, I did a series called Stripes and Buns. And that totally was like, it's like you get your confidence built and then you completely get, no, I lost money on that show. And I was like, oh man. So you just, but I'm in it for the long haul and I'm really looking for sustainability as a full-time artist. And when you get rejections or a show doesn't go as you planned, yeah, you just figure it out and keep going.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that's a theme, even from just starting and
Yes.
drawing during nap time to this evolution. It's like it's all happening naturally. And it seems like you're just like taking it as it comes a little bit too. But that's so true. I think it's so nice to hear because people's ears probably perked up when you were like, oh, I made like 25 grand and then didn't do very well the next one. I think it's nice to hear that story because I think so often we see like the mountaintop and then we don't see, yeah, but it's still hard. Like it doesn't just mean that you're on the upward trajectory forever.
Oh, and it shouldn't be like that. It would be exhausting to be like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
The rejections and the losses, if you even want to see it like that's what shapes us as artists. Like it gives us grit, determination, and okay, art is all about problem solving, especially if you're doing it full time. Like, how are we going to make this work? Well, let's pivot. Let's come up with a new idea. Right now,
Yeah.
I have my first museum exhibit. It's a solo exhibit up in Jacksonville. And I did a collection of 15 oil paintings. And I, it's very new for me because I normally sell just out of the studio direct to client. But it's exciting. And I just was like, okay, before this opening night, I'm going to have zero expectations. And I was telling everybody that as far as the outcome, sale,
Right.
all that. And it was packed and it was so exciting. And I sold one painting and I was like, oh. And I'm like, I know I said zero expectations, but really I thought I was going to sell a little more than that.
Especially when it's packed. That's the thing that's so crazy about being an artist is it's like you really never know, but that's also can be frustrating, but also the fun of working for yourself is like you said, it's always a new challenge. There's always something that we're working on in our brain, like the next marketing idea, the next show, the next collection, whatever. And I think that's like the struggle, but the joy at the same time.
Sure. The 9 to 5 job I worked for 2 years, like I am not a 9 to 5 girly. That was so hard for me. I'd look at the clock, like every day being the same. I can't. I'd look at the clock at 2:30 and be like, oh, okay, I can do this. I just
Yeah.
I obviously have ADHD and it's a superpower. Love it. Yeah.
I think it really is. And I think it's so funny what you said. Like, I definitely was the same way through like different jobs I've had. I do think like you stare at the clock or you're like, oh, is it 5 o'clock yet? But with this, it's like time flies by or it moves differently.
Yeah.
And it's hard, but it's hard in a different way. And it's hard in a way where I feel like all the effort I'm putting in, I'm seeing the direct results versus like I'm putting effort into this like bigger machine where I don't feel as important, kind of.
For sure. Yeah. I think the challenge is just unpredictability and there's no financial stability either. You don't know what each month is going to look like. And yeah, I think
Yeah.
it used to like, I think that it gave me a lot of anxiety of chasing and going and always posting. And now I feel like since I've done it 11 years, I feel really calm and, oh, there's not as much sales this month or not as many commission inquiries or the exhibit didn't go the way my zero expectations didn't work out. But I think I've just like eased into it. I'm like, I want to do this forever and I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah, and I think you've been doing it long enough too. I think being in it 11 years, like you've done the cycle of, I'm assuming, like
Yeah.
positive, not so positive. I feel like I'm at the same point now too. I'm 6 years, so different, but still, I finally have been in it long enough to be like, sometimes it's slow, but it's okay. And
Yeah.
like things will pick back up or we'll do something else. But how are you managing the financial instability? Like I know you do prints, I know you do some other things. Are you trying to balance it out, do different shows? Like, how do you think about it?
Yeah. So I've thought about it as I will produce 1 to 2 bodies of work a year. And that's like a collection of 10, 15 paintings, whatever it is. And that's
Mhm.
really where the money is for me because it's just my time. I do offer like giclée prints on canvas, and that's also great too. And then I have the photography. I really have 8 revenue streams if you want to know.
Same.
My studio is like 1,200 square feet. I have a seamless backdrop that rolls down. I have natural light. So I have photographers that rent that. I host workshops for adults and kids in the studio, constantly rearranging in here. And I also am on the property with the restaurant. I'm in the back, they're in the front, and they wholesale my work. It's like a doubles
Love
as a
that.
gallery and gift shop. They're the best brunch in St. Augustine, so they get a ton of tourists. So much foot traffic. I wholesale to a bunch of retailers around the nation. I used to go to Magnolia Market in Texas. I've done that 6 times. I've done a couple markets, but I was saying the restaurant and I host a market twice a year. So we have 30 vendors that
Amazing.
set up, and yeah, it's all over the place. And then I'm also a mom, a single mom with 2 kids, 8 and 10. And the reason I love this job is it permits me to prioritize them. I pick them up every day from school. I work while they're at school. So it's 9 to 2. So I'm only working like 25, 30 hours a week.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously that's a huge benefit. And I think that's why so many people want to work for themselves. But I also
Yeah.
love that you're doing a lot of different things. I think a lot of artists I talk to feel like they have to be like just a full-time artist to be an artist. And
Oh,
I'm like, no, we're all like, especially going back to like ADHD brain, it's like actually having your hands in a lot of different things can be great. Like
oh, yeah.
financially, it can give you that stability, but it also can just, I feel like for me, I also do a million different things. It keeps my brain firing. Like I would get bored or
Oh,
maybe I'd be so stagnant if I like only did the podcast all day, every day. I'm like, no, I need like 100 other things that I'm working on.
challenge you. And I'm not also
Exactly.
creative people. I think it looks on social media to me like a lot of successful artists, the ones that are just like killing it. It looks to me that they're just producing the same thing over and over again. I'm like, I am not a factory. I do not want to paint oysters for 10 years at all. I have no interest in doing that. I want
Yeah.
to
And
explore it and see it and then go deep as I can, but I'm also ready to paint like some figurative studies, or I love changing it up. Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's important too. I think it's good for your creativity. I think it keeps your audience engaged. Like, I think unless you're one of those like upper echelon of you have so many followers or whatever that you can just paint the same thing over and over again. But I don't think that works for the majority of people. One,
No,
for a business standpoint, but like mentally, I'm like, I would lose my mind.
100%. I also am learning that really successful artists they're just having apprentices do their paintings. And I'm like, I don't love that. At what point, because they're so successful, like Cahind Wiley, everyone's painting for him at this point. I'm like, what are you even doing?
Yeah.
I'm sure
But
to me, I'm like, don't you want to be doing that?
I
And
think
maybe I
you have
don't.
to be, no, and I think if you're going that route, which I'm sure most people listening are not, but if you are, I think you have to be so much more, not business minded, but like energized by the business side of things. But I think most artists are energized by the creating, like by the creation process. And so, like for me, if I had someone else doing that, then why am
Yeah.
I an artist? I don't know. That's how my brain thinks about it.
I guess if you're selling paintings for millions of dollars, it doesn't really matter.
That's what I was going to say. And that then I could just still paint in my free time, but we're not quite there yet, or at least I'm not. Tell me a little bit about how you're working to market your work. I know you have this solo exhibition, which I want to circle back to, but also just from a social media, email, all the different ways you can market. How do you think about marketing?
Yeah, love social media. Also hate it. I somehow have 40,000 followers on Instagram and I've never done paid marketing. I lie. My friend is in advertising and she got me to do it for 3 months, but I didn't really see like a ton of results. But it's just been natural growth. And I think a lot of it came from word of mouth, Magnolia, being a vendor there. Then I've also tried to delegate social media to companies before, so I don't have to be on my phone. But I found that it's just best if I do it because I don't like planning. I don't know what I'm doing every day and
Right.
plan out the whole month. Okay, Monday I'm posting about my oyster paintings. Tuesday I'm going to post behind the scenes in the studio. Like I can't do that. It really stresses me out because my life isn't like that. I don't schedule my life out. It just happens, which probably really
Right.
stresses out some people who are listening. So I found that higher, like outsourcing it was causing me more angst and like I wasn't organized for them to give them that. And another reason is that I like having my own voice. And I think a lot of people who know me and know my art through Instagram, they feel connected to the story. It's really hard to have a third party do that. I don't think it's
Yeah.
possible. Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to another artist recently and she was saying she wants to take certain things off of her plate. And she was like, is that the first thing I should take off? And I was like, actually, no. I think you should probably get like an assistant or like a studio assistant or someone to maybe manage your inbox. But I was like, social media handing it off is really
Yeah.
difficult for what you like, for the reasons you just said. I think especially as an artist, like, yes, we are a brand, but like our brand is us. So like we really have to show up as ourselves, and I'm sure it can be done, but like I haven't found an easy way to pass that on to someone else. And I think you really do have to, and so much of the stuff, I'm the same as you, like it's just in the moment. I'm like, oh, this would make a great story, and you can't have those in the moment experiences when you're passing it off to someone else. And so I
Yeah.
think it's hard for that to be one of the first things you delegate because it's I don't know, it's just hard to make it work.
Yeah. And I think social media is everyone's first impression of your business. And I think that it should be your voice. When you go to search someone, if you're traveling and you're like, oh, let me check it out on Instagram and it pops up and it's this, that's what they're going to see. You have 2 seconds to captivate them.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I really have enjoyed social media and what it's done for my career. I'd say 50% of my sales are online and then 50 in person, but it does drain you. And I really liked it at the beginning when it was just like the stagnant photos. And then social media with the algorithm, you had to do all these reels and it had to be so curated. And now, at least in what I see on Instagram and what I like is really unfiltered, just like photo dumps of here's behind the scenes. And I'm like barely editing photos anymore. And just like, here's what I'm working on. And I like that.
Yeah, I've definitely made that shift too. And I actually feel like it's working a lot right now with this algorithm, but it is working a lot better for me because that's what I interact with. I love you're an artist. You're gonna have pretty photos. Like you're gonna have nice things to look at because you're painting all day. But I actually love the more unfiltered and here's who I actually am as a person, which again is what you can't really get an outsourced company to do. Like I love the stories or the random posts that's you out doing something in your life that shows me who you are versus just like the picture perfect, like I'm in my studio painting every single day. It's like, great. I assume you do that. What else are you like?
For sure. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us more about this solo exhibition. So I know it sounds like you've done a couple of exhibits before, but this was your first one in a museum. Just can you tell us like how it came to be, what's going on? I think it's through June or July, maybe.
Yeah. It is. It's through June. It's Beaches Museum up in Jax Beach. And it's this cute little rustic, like visitor center slash museum for history of Jacksonville area. And they do quarterly shows with artists. And they reached out last year around this time asking if I would want to have an exhibit this year. It was very organized and there were deadlines, which I love. I don't like schedules, but I do love deadlines.
Yes.
Okay, I'm very deadline driven, aka I procrastinate. So yeah, I asked him, I was like, what do you guys want for the museum? Because I have a whole series of figurative studies that I did a couple years ago, surf culture, mid-century feeling paintings. But I know my oysters are really popular. And then I've been doing seascapes lately, like landscape, seascape stuff. And so that's what I asked for. And I was great. So yeah, it's up, all oil paintings, framed, they're large scale, which I'm always trying to figure out. I'm like, man, if I had just done like 3 by 3 feet that probably would have moved a little better, but I love the 6 foot, 8 foot paintings. So
Yeah.
always
And they
like,
make
oh,
such an impression.
I love them, but also who has that space in their house?
Yeah, I love that. So it sounds like you lean a lot on social media has been great, but you lean a lot on word of mouth and like events and things like that. Between the markets, an
And
exhibition, shows, what do you like the best? How are you thinking about planning? I know you have a variety of things you do. Are you like, oh, I want to hit 2 markets this year? I know you do some of your own space, but you know what I'm saying? Do you
yeah,
try to plan it out? Do you take things as they come?
I do. Yeah. Since I have a brick and mortar, I like hosting. I think that's great. People love coming in the studio and like it's just a fun place to be. There's great
Yeah.
light. It's just inspiring. I like being here. It's like my safe place. But yeah, I'll do a couple local things. We have an awesome music venue here. It's the St. Augustine Amphitheater. They host quarterly markets that I'll do. I don't do Magnolia anymore just because I recently had a big life change and I'm just trying to protect my space and time right now. And it's a lot to get a U-Haul and go all the way to Texas, set up, break down. Like it's so much. And then I've also had a shift in me this past year, maybe because I'm aging and getting older. But all of the markets I've been doing are my reproductions and puzzles and gifts, tea towels and little things, which I love. But I have this desire to really push and go for more originals, find and really go that direction. So I don't know what that looks like yet, but the exhibit was like the first thing. Maybe doing more museum exhibits or getting into galleries that are not local, but traveling because at this point in St. Augustine, I'm pretty well established. So it doesn't make sense for me to do galleries since they take 50, 60% sometimes.
Yeah.
So I can just sell directly to consumer. But if I can go to the Keys or Atlanta or somewhere different, I would love to start showing originals in different areas.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's a really smart strategy too, just to get your kind of like a wider footprint with your work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
How do
Yeah.
you structure your days in terms of, I know you said you work while the kids are at school, but in terms of like business versus creating versus you said you host like workshops in your space, like how do you structure a day to just manage it all? Or maybe it's like how you structure your week.
So I've always had an assistant. Okay, I lie. I've had an assistant for the past 6 years. One was for 5 years, Maddie. She's like my best friend. And then I had another girl this past year, but she just moved on. This job is so transient, so it's not like I'm offering benefits or yeah, I'm a
Hmm.
very small business. Sorry. But I haven't rehired someone to fill that. And I think mentally I am in a healthier state. And so I'm able to take it on. And I'm finding, like you said, like we're 6 years into our business, 11 years, like you can just relax a little bit more. You're not like, am I gonna, is it okay? And I just have found that I have mental capacity for all the admin and logistics. So I've been doing all of it as of late. I do have some Flagler girls that help out. But with that being said, some days I'm doing admin and I'm like, oh my God, these emails and invoices and like communication, I just want to be painting. So I
Yeah.
don't know how long it's going to last. But as far as day to day, I came in this morning, I looked around, I was like, we have a market coming up in 2 weeks, and I decided to do like a 6 inch paintings. I'm going really small because I'm like, oh, maybe these will
Mhm.
sell. 6 inch paintings of a citrus with shadows, and I'm doing a bunch of them. And so I'm working on those this morning. I had on the calendar our little Zoom meeting, and then yeah, I'll be painting the rest of the day. I try to look at the orders on my website, fulfill those, and I always go to the post office on the way to pick kids up from school. It's just, yeah, I don't know.
Kind of got a routine
Yeah, I
ish.
do. I usually in the mornings will make a checklist of what needs to get done. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I think it's funny. I've gone through times where I've done more of the admin. I have an assistant, but like I still do so much admin stuff. And like the other day, I share this space with another girl, and we just both go, "Oh, people need to stop emailing me," even though that's like my job.
Isn't that funny? The emails
Yeah,
are what makes you money because you're, yeah, it's really funny.
literally. But it's like when you can't catch up, I'm like, can people just stop emailing me for one day? Can I just have one day without any emails?
I cannot.
Transitioning a little bit, can you share what have been some of your most successful moments? I feel like you've had some big highlights, but what have been the big ones for you?
Oh boy. I think getting into Magnolia as a vendor, like meeting Joanna, she like knew my name, which was really crazy. I met her 3 times. One time was so funny because they had like just opened their hotel and she was in a really cute outfit. And Maddie, my assistant, was with me. I think it was the last market we did. But Joanna came up, was like, hey girls, and we're chit chatting. And she was like, do you guys want to take a selfie? And I was like, still so nervous still. I was like, oh, we'll get these people to take a picture of us. So she and Maddie set up and are standing side by side. And the person gets my phone. I like hop in the photo and it looks like I'm the third wheel. And I was like it's them two like together and then me like on the side. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like it was just so stupid. But then I like talked way too fast and was like, I think you would love St. Augustine. You should totally come here and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that was embarrassing. But yeah, doing Magnolia, they wholesale my puzzles. I have a flower mat puzzle. So while I don't go to their events anymore, I am like in their shop, which is really cool. What else? Oh, I've been featured in HGTV a couple of times, which is just fun. And I think just the biggest success to me is just, I really like, this is gonna be so sappy. I love connecting with people. And I love when little girls come in the studio and they're just like so inspired. And I think they're like, oh, this is an option. Like I could do this. Making those connections, teaching people, just sharing my passion in art. Like that really fills my cup. And then I do a lot of meaningful commissions as well. If there's a death and you're doing a portrait of somebody, I just love those little small glimpses. It's special.
Yeah. And you're making a meaningful difference. Again, sounds so sappy, but like you really are. Like the stuff that you're doing as an artist, I think can be purposeful and meaningful. And so I know, I completely agree. Those little moments, I feel like some of the best ones.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What have been some challenges? What have been some kind of difficult moments, difficult things in general?
Probably just my ADHD issues. Like Sundance catalog, like Robert Redford's Sundance. Have you heard of that place?
Yeah.
They wanted to carry, oh God, this is horrible. They wanted to carry all of my state tea towels. So I did a whole series on the official state flower for each state. So it's the silhouette of the state filled with a pattern of their state flower. So there's 52 illustrations, right? And they're like, we want these on tea towels with the state name underneath and the name of the flower. Like it was something I already had on my website, but they like wanted it mass produced in all their shops. And so they would put in these massive orders. And I remember working with the tea towel company and I got a good price and figured it all out. But they were like, oh, I had sent in samples that were one tea towel. And then they're like, oh, you can save money if you do these tea towels. So we send out there's 2,500 units, right? Send it out to Utah, feeling so excited and cool, and this is gonna be great. They email me and they're like, this is not the same as the sample. And I was like, oh no. Like for some reason, like what in my mind made me think it was okay to just change the product?
You're in the moment. I don't know. I feel like we've all had those. You do something like that and then you're like, oh crap.
This is like a $10,000. It's a lot, right?
Yeah.
Or more. I don't even remember. It was a lot. So for me, so I had to redo all of them. And they were like, we know you're a really small business, so we're going to send these back to you and you can sell them like through your little shop. And I was like, thanks.
Great. 2,500, just what I need.
50 Alaska state towels. What am I going to do with that? Oh, it's so embarrassing. So I had to redo all of them. So then it never ends. I hate this stuff. And this is when I had an assistant who was helping me. We get an email and they're like, so the state flower for Colorado is like the Columbine, but you guys spelled it incorrectly. And we're like, oh
no.
We send it. So stuff like that, it like the little detail things, even shipping the puzzles to Magnolia, like the step-by-step processes. I hate cooking. I hate recipes. Like I can throw together a meal, but I'm not reading a recipe. Yeah. That's how I am in art. So anything that's like logistics or like step-by-step really overwhelms me and I need help with that. Yeah. Another funny instance, because mistakes happen all the time and you just gotta go with it. Another funny thing that happened was at the beginning of my career, I had done like the Florida's Finest Rodent calendar. And I had little illustrations of all the rodents for each month. It was so stupid and cute. And then everyone since then has been like, when are you coming out with a calendar? And one reason I don't love doing calendars is because it's like, there's an expiration date. You have to sell it by this date. But in order to get the good price, you have to order so many in bulk to reduce the price, all that.
Right.
So anyway, oh, and so for 3 years in a row, I'd email my printer, Ryan. I'm like, hey, in December, it's like December 1st. I'm like, hey, I think I want to design a calendar for in January. And he's, it's December. I'm like, oh, okay. Too late, too late. So I'm like, next year. So I'm finally on it, right? I illustrate this bird calendar, which was inspired by my daughter, and I went to the library, got all these, she loves animals, got all these bird books. And I'm like, man, I could totally paint birds. This looks, I don't like these illustrations. Let me try this. Did each month a different bird. It was so fun, right? We put it together. I ordered this in April. Oh, I'm like so ahead of the game, right? So we go to Magnolia in October. We have a whole stack of them. Oh, I print like 500. Like we're going. I have so many eyes on it. We're ready. We bring them. We sell so many, right? It's great. The next day, I get a DM in my Instagram and someone's, love your calendar, bought it yesterday. It was so great meeting you. Just want to let you know there is a typo on every page. Yeah. And I was like, what? So Maddie's like pulling up on her phone the PDF that we had sent to the printer. And I had handwritten all of the dates. So it was like the month of the calendar and like 1, 2, 3, 4, Monday through whatever the days of the week are. So right. It goes 18, 19, no, so it's 18, 22, 21, 22. Something was messed up. So 22 was in there twice. On every page. And I looked at Maddie and I was just like, you're kidding. Oh my, we have 500. So the girl was so sweet. She was like, so we just want to let you know in case you haven't printed any, like all of them. It's funny you say that. Printed 500. And it's just so many eyes were on it. Like, I got to find a new editor next time, but horrible mistake, right? So we pivot. Here's another thing, like problem solving, right? So they're like 9x12 calendars with the artwork on top. So we went back to the printer. I'm like, can you cut all of these into 10x10 prints? And what ended up happening is we were selling these 12-page calendars for $36. And then all of a sudden we had 12 prints selling at $30 a piece. So like it worked out.
Yeah. Love problem solving, but that is hilarious. I can relate to you because I'm really good at big picture, really bad at little details. Like I just even remember in like childhood, my mom would be like, if you would just read over things one more time, your grades would be infinitely better, but like you're smart. You just don't pay attention to details. I'm like, I know it's my fatal flaw, but whatever.
Going too fast and just glaze over and we're like, big picture, we got this, go.
But I think I'm assuming you're like me. It's like, I just like to move fast. And then I'm like, this is so exciting. I'm on to the next thing and let's get it done. And then it's like, oh crap. Like I just ordered 500 of something with a type. I mean, my claim to fame in typos is that I had a typo in the first sentence of the Common App that you send to all the colleges. And my mom was like, oh, did you proofread this before you sent it out? And I go, no, I just submitted it to all the schools. And she was like, oh, there's a typo in the first sentence. I was like, I got in, so we're good.
Yeah, most of my email blasts, if you look closely, there's definitely typos in them.
But yeah. And I'm like, at least I wrote it. That's what I always said. I'm like, at least they know like I wrote it because it's not
AI.
Yeah, exactly. Not that there was like AI back then, but I'm sure that's more of an issue now. I love it. This has all been great. I love to, before we get into your tip, what do you see next for your business? What is on the horizon this year and then beyond?
Yeah. So what's going on right now, which is like really exciting, is my vision for my art is more, I love home design. I've renovated 2 homes, currently finishing up one right now. But I always see my art in homes. Like that's where I see them. And I have an opportunity that's very new and like still in the works of getting some artwork in bigger shops. So that's exciting. And then just continuing to paint originals, commissions, do a new body of work. Yeah, just I like it being really flat and like I'm trying to get out of fight or flight and learn what it's like to just be like steady and calm. And
I love it.
Yeah, and so I just want to continue on the path I'm doing and sprinkle in some new things.
Yeah, I love it. I love to end every episode with a tip, a lesson, something that's really benefited you. It could be like a book or an app or whatever, but something that's benefited you in your career. Or it could be a couple things, but whatever comes to mind.
Okay. Love this guy. I don't know how to say his last name though. His name is Austin Clown.
I know who you're talking about.
How do you say his last name?
I have no idea, but I know who you're talking about.
He's based in Texas and he makes little books for artists about, these are older. I think I got the first one in college, so like 2010 or 11, but he's still making stuff. But all his books, one is Steal Like an Artist, Keep Going. He has all these amazing books. They're great for artist minds because they're very visual. He'll have a whole page of black and then there's just like a couple words that pop through. Like he scratched everything off but certain words and phrases, and it's all about showing your work and encouraging artists to put themselves out there, which has helped me tremendously. Just do it. Who cares, right? We're on here, we have one life. You might look dumb, and yeah, we all go through cringy weird phases. Who cares? Put it out there and just see. So that's like my biggest tip. Loved reading all his books. And then just, you might look like a fool, but who really cares? Do what you want to do and put it out there. Yeah. Paint like paint. Yeah.
I love it. I think that's great advice. And I'll link to his books because I love him too. I think I actually have Steal Like an Artist in my bookshelf at home. So it's a good one.
It's a really good. Mine are gone because I think I gave them away. So I need to buy all of them again.
Yeah. I follow him on Substack now too. And he's still putting out like pretty regular info. So it's a good person to have in your inbox too.
I also just read Let Them by Mel Robbins.
Yes, that's on my like want to read list.
Podcast is great.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. I will share that as well. Can you tell the audience how they can find you, buy from you, learn more about you, all your links and website and all that good stuff?
So on Instagram, it's Jenna Alexander Studio. My website is jennaalexander.com. My email, you want my email? I'm just kidding.
I'm like, maybe not.
At jenna-alexander.com. Yeah, I'm based in St. Augustine. If you guys ever come to visit, it's such a cute little historic town. The claim to fame is it's the nation's oldest city. So there's like cobblestone roads. There's a fort like less than half a mile from my studio. Sailboats. We got the best tourists too. They all come from Europe. So it's just this
love.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like Florida, if I'm going to be honest. And we also have the beach and waves, which I was in Pensacola for high school and didn't surf as much then, but now I am surfing and it's just great that we have waves here.
Yeah, I need to come visit. I think I went when I was like really young. So I have like very faint memories, but I need to plan a trip back.
Where are you, by the way?
I'm in Charleston. So also older coastal,
yes.
Great vibes.
Oh yeah. Yes, same.
I love it. It sounds like a city I would absolutely love. So I'll plan a trip. But thank you so much for your time today. This has been great. I loved learning more about you and I think the audience will as well.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course, I'll be in touch with dates, details, all that stuff. But yeah, in the meantime, like I'll work on editing and then I'll just keep you posted on when it's going to come out.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, you too.
Bye. Bye.